Hi, this is Jennifer from Positively Learning, and today I want to show you some resources that I use to support students in small group reading instruction that was focused on comprehension. So I was pulling small groups throughout the day. We had guided reading groups, we had phonics and phonemic awareness groups, we had groups focused in on IEP goals. Big part of our instruction was working with comprehension, which is appropriate for the grade level. This is K through 2, but also I had many students with goals in comprehension. And some of the goals would sound like answering the WH questions, identifying the main idea, things like that. And my struggle was getting a accurate read so that I could provide appropriate instruction. So, what I mean by that is that I would be asking some of these comprehension questions, and my students would not be responding correctly. But it was hard to tell if it where the struggle was. Was it comprehension or was it language? And so I had the idea that they were comprehending much more than what was showing up on these different progress monitoring assessments I was using because I saw it in other ways. You get to know our students really well. I felt like they could do it, but on a piece of paper, it showed that they couldn't. So I really worked on choosing appropriate prompts. But of course, we have to be really careful with prompting, right? Like, are we prompting too much? Are they not the right kind of prompt? How can we get a very accurate read? And of course, I'm talking about this like all analytical and collecting data, but I also had just live children in front of me who I wanted to have them invested and love listening to stories and interacting with books and working together. That was my main goal too. So I had quite a big problem to solve, but I was up for the challenge. I did find some things that really worked for me, and that's what I'm going to show you today. The reason I have this picture of this bundle right here is that I collected 60 different picture book titles, high interest, and student favorites, some of them very seasonal and holiday, some of them any time of year. And I put them together in this bundle. So I'm not showing you this bundle to go ahead and just go grab this, but I wanted to link it for you because if you scroll down, you can see a list of all the books together. So in this description, I have what the different components are for each picture book. And I'm going to open one up and show it to you and show you how or share how I used it. But also, if you scroll down, you can see all the titles. So they go 4 books a month for 12 months. So that's 60 books. Many of them are going to be just right for that month, like Valentine's Day or winter, but some of them are great for any time of year. So, although I am filming this in September, I actually chose to open up June and show that one to you. So, here's the June book. So let me scroll up. There's the set of June books, and the titles are really great ones. Definitely high quality, definitely student favorites. So, Diary of a Worm, Paper Bag Princess, Last Stop on Market Street, and Giraffes Can't Dance. You're probably really familiar with all of those titles. So, what I want to do is open them up and show you what I was using in small groups to get, of course, deliver instruction, but also to get a real accurate read on what was going on. And it worked. It definitely worked. In some cases, I learned, yeah, it is comprehension. That's where we need to be working on. And in some cases, I learned, oh, wow, if I lifted that language a bit more for you with prompting, and in this case, visual prompts, then I was able to see that no, you had no problem understanding what I was asking you. It was the response that we needed support in. Okay, so what I've done is I have downloaded the June books and I have it opened up right here. I call these visual book companions because they are book companions, like questions and answers based on the text, but they are also with visual prompts. And I think that's where the big difference is. Now, I also call them comprehension boards, and the boards refers to like a learning mat, like a landscape, kind of like a placemat that you put on the table that students are going to be interacting with. So I call them a couple different things. I need to decide on one of them. All right, so this is an overview of what's included. This is the June set. This is what you'd find in all of the sets. They come in sets of 4 books. So on the left-hand column are the June books. And on the right-hand column, it says questions. There is a one-page overview of all of the questions. I'm going to show it to you in just a moment. You see the mentor sentence, you see the vocabulary, there's notes for you to take. This is what you would use as the teacher during that small reading group lesson. The next row has a story comprehension picture board. So this is a huge component of what I used and what worked. It has vocabulary pictures and text. Normally we just see text, but here the pictures are there so that I worked with a lot of non-readers. And so if that text is there without a picture support, how are we getting that comprehension? So that worked. And then we had student response answers also on this board. So there's a visual for yes, no, agree, disagree. I have mentor sentence word bank and a picture word bank. Those are both like independent activities to extend learning using that same picture book, and then an ask and answer comprehension board. All right, so now let me show them to you. I'm actually choosing my favorite book. So I'm going to scroll down through these to Paper Bag Princess. Hopefully that is a favorite book for you as well. All right, so I mentioned the comprehension questions. This is the teacher page where you can see the entire thing on one page. You see all of the questions. They are majority based on WH questions, which is what K through 2 students need. I do have the answers provided for you. All of the answers that are specific to this book, you will see a picture visual cue on the next page. So this is the teacher page. The questions do go in order from like the beginning of the story to the end. However, you can use whichever questions you want. Say on Monday, you're doing a read aloud to the whole group. You could pick out a couple of questions. The next day, you're doing a reread to the whole group. Pick out 5 different questions. And then if you're working with small groups, you're bringing the story over. They've already heard the story before. Then you can choose specific questions. You might put student initials by them so that you know like you're getting an accurate read of how they're doing. And remember, this is like one book a week so that you're focusing in on that. On the right-hand side are the vocabulary. Those are also going to show up in the writing prompts and then a mentor sentence. Okay, so this is the comprehension board that your students would have, and you could, of course, have a copy as well. This is what they have. You can see that there's the text, and then there's the picture cue. So students could cover up the picture to respond with their answer. If you're asking, let's pick a question up here. Let's see. Who is the main character of the Paper Bag Princess? All right, well, maybe they're not going to be able to say the main character of Paper Bag Princess is Elizabeth. And that's okay. But they can show you that they know that. They're not choosing dragon, cave, world, tired. No, they can show Elizabeth, pointing, saying Elizabeth, covering it up. Like that's always a fun one, like a little fine motor there, circling it, bingo dab it, whatever you want. And then there are down at the bottom, the yes, the no, I agree, disagree that they can point to, or just use those visual cues, or you can use those visual cues to remind them that they are responding to you and to their teammates that they're sitting with. So this is the teacher page, and this is the student page. All right, so here's some extension pages. There's the mentor sentence with the vocabulary. That one does not have picture cues. This one does. So you have 2 different options to do writing. You could put these in the center. You could have students working with you, whatever works, whatever makes sense for your students and their goals. And then the last one is a variation. So this is the Paper Bag Princess. And if you, you probably are familiar with quite a few of these visuals. Well, there's those WH questions. There's the main idea. There's the beginning, the middle, the end. There's the summary. Somebody wanted but, so there's our visual hand signals again. And then on the left-hand column are signals for key components based on the Brady doll. I don't know if you use Brady or if your students use Brady maybe in speech, but you can see that some of those cues, you can see characters, you can see setting, You can see the main idea, the action. You can see how a character changed. You can see the wrap up. There's the gift with the bow. So this is another option for a comprehension board. Would you use this one? Or, sorry, I'm scrolling a little up today. Or would you use this one? That's up to you. I personally used this one the most because it was a little less cumbersome for many of my students. That comprehension board, though, is a really great one. It's available to you for every story. I also have a blank one up at the top. Instead of having the book title, it just says, I can ask and answer questions about the text. So that's the one I print out and keep in my binder. So if I'm working individually with a student or, collecting assessment data, I might use that one to help, like, as I'm speaking, to help, like, point to visual cues. But when I'm working in small groups, it's mostly going to be this one for me, this one for my students, and then choosing these. I usually just put these into like writing folders or the writing center. All right, so do you have any questions for me about how these visual book companions work? I think they are magical. Personally, I think the magic is the book titles that were chosen. I think the magic is that interactive piece. Students can cover up their answer, bingo dab their answer, circle their answer, point to their answer, or just visually use those prompts um, to verbally answer. I think that these were exactly what my students needed so that I could get a more accurate read. Because again, I felt that they knew a lot more than they were showing. So I was kind of that like mama bear, like out prove it when people were thinking, no, 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 they don't know. It's like, oh, yes, they do. All right, so that's what I used them for. Please let me know if you have any questions. What I'm going to do next is link up the book bundle. And then I definitely have plans to put this information in a blog post. But actually, I'd like to hear from you first. If you have any questions, then I can be sure to also answer those in a blog post if I don't reach out to you sooner. All right, thanks so much for watching.